Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 160. Iliya here, and as always I'm really happy to welcome you on the Trading Fanatic channel. You know what we're gonna do in this video. We're gonna have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what kind of opportunities we had, and of course what we can expect for the upcoming week. This one was a pretty eventful one. We had some very important speeches. We had the Jackson Symposium as well. We had the Fed also throwing in some amazing speeches that actually caused the market to plummet or explode depending on the pair that we're speaking about, right? The stock market is crashing right now, so really interesting times are ahead of us. I haven't taken any trades this week. As I told you guys in the previous video, I'm currently moving houses with my family. I'm helping them out, so I don't really get any time to focus, to sit down and really trade. And I'm going to start getting back full-time trading from the 1st of September. So quite excited about that, right? So we're going to have more trades, more opportunities. Also, Q4 is almost around the corner, so make sure to give our best to improve and of course to finish the year strong. All right. If you're new to this channel, it is all about trading. I share these weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, but today I posted on Sunday because yesterday we were pretty busy. And once per week, I'm going to be sharing an educational piece of content from September on. So make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss when the future videos are out. And if you already did, let's head into the video because we have a lot to speak about. Alright, as always, we're gonna get started with a Dixie, but before we do that, I want to throw a shout out to my amazing broker, Forex.com. They are great. They have all the instruments, all the assets, Forex, crypto, indices, metals with great spreads. They also have two types of accounts, but make sure to pick their eco account. You are gonna pay a little bit of commission, but every single lot that you accumulate will go towards planting 10 trees. I really love that initiative. I'm supporting them, so make sure to go in my description, check out the link and open your eco account. So let's help the environment. All right. So Dixie, some very important things to note. We had a couple of speeches from the Fed, and one of the most important ones was on Friday, I think, when the stock market plummeted around 3% and eliminated 1.5 or 3 billion of liquidity in the market, which is quite huge, right? Just from a 10-minute speech, we had all of that money being transferred, right? So technically, he said he was pretty hawkish, which means bullish for the dollar. Potential interest rate hikes are incoming for the US dollar from the Fed, right? Which immediately is met with bullishness, we can see on the dollar. And of course, as the ECB still hasn't taken great action, and also a lot of analysts are saying that they also should hurry up with their interest rate hikes, but we're actually the last one to hike them, right? So pretty much the dollar still remains the most bullish pair, or the most bullish instrument or currency, I would say. Okay, so after creating this beautiful bullish engulfing candle the last week, this one wasn't very volatile, right? We created a little pullback to the downside and then we started pushing higher. But as you can see, we still haven't taken out the high, which is the high of the week of the 11th of July. So this, of course, will be my first target starting the week. I would expect that this one will be taken. I think I've been calling this high even in the previous week around 109.50. But of course, in order for the market to move there, something has to happen. And I think precisely this week we had it happening, right? We actually had that speech. And you can see we started a little bit slow, like we had a bullish day, then kind of almost an inside bar, and then actually we had the bullishness on Friday, right? Which also created a nice wick to the downside, which can be classified as a pullback. So right now, I do think the liquidity could be gathered in order for the market to continue and attack 109.50. So me as an intraday trader, I will be potentially looking for longs, right? Of course, you can see the price action this week was not the best, right? We pushed and then we kind of shifted the structure. So we had this break of the high, then we broke the low right there. So we shifted the structure lower and then we started having a little bit of a bearish flow, right? You can see we had a lower high right there, a lower low, lower high right there for a potential short. But then it was Friday that actually made this huge spike to the downside. I don't see what it actually tapped, right? It looks like some sort of a slowdown candles. You can see how the candles got smaller and wicky, and then we expanded again. So this can be classified as a rally-based rally, right? Type of demand. So I do think this is where we actually stopped. And as you can see later, we go ahead and actually break the most recent high, which is a full hourly shift of structure. Okay. So taking all of this into account, and also I'm really basing my analysis on the fundamentals right now, because this is really bullish what Mr. Powell said. I do think a lot of bullish sentiment is going to get introduced into the market. And after seeing this fall shift of structure, what I would love to see is for the market to pull back. Where to? Well, potentially to this whole candle, preferably also tapping around 25 to 50% of the wick, and then potentially to expand into the highs. So this is what I will be looking for in the beginning of the week, also framing this bullish bias. The only thing that worries me is that in terms of the daily, is this enough pullback for the market to continue going higher, right? If I just draw the 50% range, we haven't really gotten closer to it, and we haven't even tapped the 38.2. Okay, so there is a high chance the market might make another move to the downside. We're gonna see about that, but currently I'm just following the flow. According to me, we had this push. This was very corrective price action. So first we made the low, then we took the low, then we took the low again, which is usually kind of this ABC or 3 drives into the lows pattern. Right now we are shifting and creating a new higher high. So what I will be looking for is for the market to pull back, to create a higher low. Of course, I'm going to be looking for a lower time frame confirmation, like on the hourly and on the 15-minute, and potentially see whether we can take some longs from right there. So if I am right now bullish on the dollar, let's see, of course, if Euro USD and all the other pairs are supporting this bias. All right, let's have a look at Euro USD. So following from that beautiful, massive bearish engulfing candle last week, we already went ahead on EU and actually took out the low, right? We went below parity, which is a 1.0, and we actually almost went to 0.99, right? The low on this candle is 99.006, right? So we pretty much tapped 0.99, and this is why we potentially had a reaction. So the thing on this one is that we saw that the Dixie did not actually take out the high, which is pretty strange, right? While EU did actually take out the low. So there is that divergence going on between EU and the Dixie, which usually should move together, right? So what usually happens when the market breaks a significant low, which we have such a low in this case, well, it usually initiates a pullback. And right now we have a weekly lower high, as I have drawn this one right there. It takes place from around 1.02 all the way to 1.04, right? So this is a whole area of supply right there. So is the market actually going to start pushing into the highs to create a lower high and then drop? If we expect bullishness on the Dixie, then this one should fall lower, right? So yes, I do think we should follow with the most recent price action and just follow that bearish flow until we see otherwise, right? We can actually see that the market took out the low on Monday, right? So 22nd of August, we took out the low on Monday, and then you can see chop, 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 right? Friday threw a very nice wick that I think came pretty close to, yeah, well, it's not pretty close, 38.2%. But I was overall looking either from these little regions right there, these little 2 candles, or as we discussed in my Thursday's webinar with the community, we were looking for overall longs. Why? Because the market actually came in right there, created a lower high, lower low, and then it actually shifted the structure higher. And usually what I tell you guys is that you are gonna start finding like supply levels on the left, but as soon as the flow shifts, you follow that flow, and every single level that you have on the left, right, is just gonna be a reaction point. So this is a great example this week that we actually turned the flow to bullish, right? So there was a beautiful long right there. I do believe my community were taking a lot of longs along the way. Whereas there's first long, push, break a structure, reacting from this supply, pull back again, higher low formation was created right there. We called the longs right there. And then we continue on and we actually tap the third zone, which was right here, which actually seems to have given the biggest reaction, okay? But technically so far, we are bullish, right? Why? Because this is my major higher low. I can even make it a little bit bigger like this. So this is currently my major higher low on the 4H, right? Daily does not tell me much. There is a high chance we are actually going to pull back a little bit higher, right, towards these regions, like towards the region of 1.01, right? This is where we can potentially pull back for a nice shorting area. But if we break this higher low right there and close strongly below it, then I will be looking for the market to pull back to create a lower high, preferably within this wick right there, and then to potentially short the market, okay? So this is something that I would like to see. This will be potentially one of the scenarios. This is not yet a valid supply. Why? Because it hasn't caused a break of structure, right? So what I'm looking for is for this structure to break, for this demand to be invalidated, and then I will be looking for any sort of pullbacks in order to go short on EU. Okay, so pretty simple analysis. Once again, guys, don't forget that yes, we're having this corrective price action. The flow is still bullish. Yes, weekly is absolutely bearish, daily is absolutely bearish, but 4H is a little bit bullish right now. And also, if you consider the weekly time frame, we are just breaking below a major low. And what happens if we break below a major low? Well, you can see we broke below this one, we just massively flushed to the downside. So this can definitely happen right now. We can have maybe 1 or 2 more candles bearish before we actually initiate the pullback. Okay, daily is pretty bearish. We actually threw a little bit of a pullback, and if we actually measure the leg from that most recent pullback right here, we can see that we actually just tapped the 61.8. Right, so there are a lot of confluences for the short, but according to me, I keep it simple. So what I want to see is a break of this higher low, nice confirmed break, then a pullback, lower high formation, and then of course I'm going to be dropping to the 15-minute and looking to short from any areas within the right there, with also a market structure shift. Okay, so that is EU. It also supports that bullish bias we had on the Dixie. We can see the Dixie already went ahead and broke the high, right? So it broke the supply, which means that the Dixie is strong, which makes it likely for EU to follow, right? So we're going to see about that. But of course, technically, break of this low, retest will be perfect for me. So bearish on Euro USD. Let's see how Monday is going to open and how we can adapt on Tuesday. Having a look on the weekly time frame on Euro Yen, I do believe I'm gonna have a hard time analyzing this pair again. It has been like this for quite a few weeks already. So again, technically, yeah, it is a little bit tough to actually analyze this one because we had this pullback right there. Then we have, we have this bullish push, right? Then we have this pullback that seems to have been a higher low. The market tried to push higher, failed, and then actually broke this structure. So according to you, this is a substructure break, and yes, it is correct. Why? Because this higher low failed to make a new higher high, right? So technically it becomes weak, right? And it's not a significant low. Pretty much this is our significant low right now that we have been reacting for quite some time, right? Even from here, these wicks were tapping inside this zone, then we came in, tap, 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 tap. So it's already been a month that we cannot exit this range, right? So something has to happen. Maybe something is incoming, but weekly time frame, we have, I do think it's an inside bar. I'm not sure of the high of the range, right? But if we just draw 2 lines and then transfer this on the daily, right? Yeah, we can just see a range, right? It's pretty tough to analyze this one. So we have this high, we have this low. The market on Friday actually pushed a little bit higher. Yes, daily looks like the flow on the daily is still bearish. Like we had this nice drop to the downside, then we pull back, create a lower high, then the market tries to make a new lower low, fails, pulls back again, fails, pushes down, pushes up. So technically what we have is a consolidation, right? So nothing much to say. Again, weekly is more bullish than bearish, but daily is pretty bearish currently. And then if I drop to the 4-hourly time frame, I'm probably gonna have a nightmare because yeah, we have this push, and then yes, the market actually shifted bearish, so you should be taking shorts, stops right there, then pushes up and actually breaks the most recent major lower high that is right there, pulls back, creates a higher low right here, then pushes up, then breaks it again, right? So it is just a range, right? We try to overcomplicate it. And yes, it is quite possible to trade like structure like this within the range, but it's really important to understand on a macro perspective that we are in a range, right? And the market can just stop anywhere and just reverse, right? And it usually does so like in the mid-range, right? Because if we just check out like what the average range is, something like this, pretty much in the middle somewhere, you can see how many reactions we got here, right there, retest here, there, break, retest, right? It's the middle that the market actually does most of the transactions, and when it actually pushes into the extremes, this is when we can have a nice shorting or longing opportunity. So I can right now drop a level like this and say, well, we can short from here, but yeah, I probably won't short this market because it looks like it's pumped up with momentum. And yes, we have demand on the lows, we have supply on the highs, so we're technically in a range, and I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure. If I look at the structure, even the structure is a bit hard to analyze because we have this push, we have this pullback, then a push lower low, lower high. The market tried to respect that wick right there. Respected, failed. So technically right now we have a bullish market structure shift precisely right here, which also makes this kind of zone demand zone, right? So we can either have a short from this wick if the market actually respects this extreme, or we can have a pullback and a potential continuation higher. All right. But again, guys, keep in mind we are in a range, and if I was trading this pair, I'm just gonna remove it from now and wait for something clean. Okay, so I just don't know what's happening on this pair. It is ranging right now. Probably we have to look deeper into the fundamentals to see where can potentially JPY head. But as I told you right now, with USD JPY being so bullish, and for example Euro USD being so bearish, Euro JPY is gonna consolidate. Because in order for this pair to move, both Euro USD and USD JPY have to move in the same direction, right? This is when you're gonna have a move on this pair, right? Which rarely happens. So I do not love the JPYs. I leave it right there. Let's head on to the Aussies. Let's have a look at the Aussies. Starting from AU, we have a very interesting weekly candle development. So as I told you in the previous week, bearish engulfing candle, beautiful. We can either continue to drop to the downside, or we can initiate the pullback and then drop. Or the third scenario is to actually have a pullback candle, right? And usually what you do is you measure the engulfing candle, and you can see we actually pulled back perfectly towards the 50%, which is of course could be a setup for a short next week. If everything goes as planned with the current sentiment, I do think the Aussie can sell off, right? So taking this information on the week from the weekly, transferring it on the daily, we can see that the market actually went inside and retested this bullish candle, which I believe we mentioned could be a potential zone of respect, right? This is a candle that also reacted from a higher low on the left, which makes it actually stronger. So it tapped, reacted, so we have a drop, base drop. The market pulls back. And again, we do the same pattern. Look at that, guys. So we consolidate, we have a massive bullish candle into the zone, exiting with a massive bearish candle. Does this look familiar? Let me just go back a time frame, right? Massive bullish candle exiting with a massive bearish candle, right? So we have this right here, which is a great sign, okay? So first target on the daily is this low, and then of course second target on the weekly could be this low. And then if we transfer this on the hourly time frame, well, probably a lot of you went long on AU this week, right? Because we had this beautiful engulfing candle right there that actually shifted the structure. We had a nice liquidity gap below, below this most recent low, right? So the market just went inside and tapped inside this demand and gave you a beautiful long towards the supply. Then we consolidate for a bit, and then we again create this manipulation and a massive sell-off, right? So this manipulation technically created also a higher high, right? So right now I'm very free to say that we have a full hourly structure shift to the downside, and this potentially area could be a shorting area. This is from 69.50 all the way towards 0.70, right? Of course, you can make it smaller, you can make it like this, you can make it even like this, right? This is up to you, but this whole region right there is a potential shorting area. So of course, in order for me to short, I would love to for the market to first create, like to first stop, and then it start to initiate a little pullback and then to potentially drop, right? This is what I will be looking for. But as I saw that the market already pulled back on the weekly, daily time frame is right now forming this bearish engulfing candle. So yes, I would really appreciate the pullback to the upside. But there is a high chance that this can just open on Monday and just break the low, right? Which is what we saw on EU last week, right? I was looking for a pullback, but the market just opened and just boop, 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 broke the low and went below 0.99, right? So this is how I currently view the Aussie. It's pretty simple. I'm bearish. There is my supply zone. We're bearish on the daily, bearish on the weekly. Weekly pullback was completed. We tapped inside this range on the left. Forward structure is aligning with the weekly and the daily. So really high probability shorts, according to me, on the Aussie dollar. The only question is, how do we get in, right? But we're going to see this as the market opens. Maybe we're going to be forced to flow with a 50-minute time frame, because what sometimes happens is we kind of initiate a little pullback. Then the market strongly breaks structure, right? And this is the 50-minute. Yet you wait for the market to come inside the hourly zone. No, adapt to the market, wait for a new retest, and then go with the flow. Okay, so that's AU. Very nice price action. Looking forward to see whether we can have some shorts and whether we can achieve the target of 68.50. Okay, AJ is probably gonna give me a hard time. Guys, I'm just not really enjoying analyzing the JPY period. Like, look at that. How can I analyze this one? Like, yeah, sure, push, pullback, push, nice wick below, but it's just ranging, man. It's just hard, right? And I keep repeating myself every single week. Like, yes, we have this overall push up and the market is currently pulling back. We threw this wick towards this weekly zone right here. and the market looks like it responded. But what happens from the top is that we have a lot of supply coming in from the top, right? There's that one. Then there is this one. The market tapped inside, created the bearish engulfing candle, but then failed, right? So right now we're spiking the highs. I just don't know what the bias on this one is, right? And we're technically once again in the range. And if I just drop like a midline, we can see that the market tends to kind of consolidate within the middle, kind of break it, retest it, break it, retest it, break it, retest, retest, right? So this also confirms that we are in a range, right? So again, I'm just gonna leave the JPYs because I'm just losing time analyzing them. I'm not sure if I provide any value because I don't understand the JPYs as I don't trade them, and they usually look pretty ugly to me. So sorry for the JPY traders, right? But look at that, we had a beautiful supply tap, the market shift structure, so you should be shorting from right there, but no, the market actually keeps climbing higher, right? So right now we take the liquidity above this major high, right? And the market is massively rejecting. So technically, if I'm trading this today, then yes, this according to me is a shift of structure and I'm bearish, right? But then of course, the bearish that we have on Aussie dollar with the weekly bearish time frame, with the daily bearish time frame, does not apply on this one. Because first of all, like the weekly is overall bullish and the daily is overall chop, right? So we don't have a clean hard time frame bias. So I leave it here, guys, and just again flow with the markets because this one tends to change its trend very often, and it kind of enters into funny consolidation areas. But right now, if the sentiment on the Aussie is bearish, then of course you can have a pullback, get a little short, right, towards like attacking maybe some of these flat lows right there, and then just wait and adapt, right? Don't have higher time frame expectations on this one because they usually don't play out, and that's from my experience, right? So those are the Aussies. Aussie dollar looks great, Aussie JPY not that much, so focus on what actually looks cleaner. Looking at NZUSD, it looks much weaker than the Aussie because we actually had a pullback candle on the Aussie, like a bullish candle, but this one just created a little pullback with a little wick and it's already on the move down, right? So NZD looks much weaker than the Aussie, right? So if you're trading Aussie NZD, which I just got very curious to see how it's actually moving, right? Yes, technically we can see that definitely the Aussie dollar is stronger than the NZD, right? And we can actually see this on our price charts, okay? So what can I expect? Well, further continuations lower, right? So the question is, are we gonna have any pullback? We can see that actually the bearishness happened on Friday, right? Monday opened with an indecision, Tuesday pullback, Wednesday inside bar, Thursday taking out the high of the inside bar, acting as liquidity grab, and then Friday creating this beautiful bearish engulfing candle, okay? So we can tap right now into this little demand. We technically also have a daily supply, which we can expect to potentially tap. Then transferring this onto the Forex, we have some nice price action right now. So the question is, what kind of pullback can we have? If the market taps inside this zone, can we initiate a nice pullback, right? Because this is our daily zone, but if we refine it to the Forex, then this will be a nice zone that we can look at. Once again, you can do this, or you can even do this. A lot of people like draw small zones, they never end up getting tapped, right? So it's much better to have bigger zones and then to observe how the market develops and how the market behaves in those zones, right? So very simply, we right now have a break of structure right there. So what I will be looking to see is the market pull back towards creating a new lower high. So there is a chance that we might push lower again to tap into the demand and then initiate a lower high, right? Initiate a pullback. So of course you can go long with this move, right? If you have a nice shift on the 50-minute, but again, the highest probability setup will be a short on the NZD. So if we start with a nice pullback, right, that will be lovely because then I will be looking for the 50-minute to also align bearish after the pullback is completed. And then I'm going to short this one. And of course, if you actually catch a short on this one, a good option will be to keep open targets towards 0.6050, right? So bearish on the NZD, nothing much to say, looking forward for a nice pullback. And of course, there are a couple of scenarios that could develop if the market starts bearish, taps inside the supply zone, then you can drop to a lower time frame or just wait for the forward to shift. Then you can start catching longs, right, as a pullback trade towards the supply, and then you can take it down again. All right, so that's my view on NZD. Looks pretty clean. The only thing we have to do is wait and actually see how it's going to develop. And no, I am not analyzing this stuff. No. I'm just not going to waste any time. Maybe we can have a look on the weekly. Yeah, Even the weeklies in a range on this one. Like, look at all of those wicks being thrown into the highs. We have a bullish candle, bearish candle, inside bar, right? And this weekly candle still stayed within the inside bar. So there is a high chance we take out the low, right? Because it's overall bearish, right? We just faked below the consolidation area. No, guys, no. Aussie JPY looked a little bit better, but this one is just awful, right? This one, since the 15th of August, I'm just waiting for something, okay? So I'm not gonna even touch this one, guys. If you're trading NZD, go to NZD/USD because this price action is good, right? This price action is good. We had this massive run into the highs, the structure shifted. Right now we're bearish, creating lower highs and lower lows. We also had a little opportunity for a long, precisely right here, to catch this long towards the high, right? And right now we are short, okay? So focus on NZD/USD and step aside from those JPYs for a while. Let's have a look at USD JPY, which is like the Dixie, but to the JPY pairs, right? Again, as of the previous outlook, we have a bullish push, we have a bearish pullback right there, which is pretty beautiful. We had a tap of the 50%, so technically I am bullish on that pair, expecting a potential break of 139, right? 139, a little bit above 139, and even potentially 140, okay? So what we see is that we have this beautiful bullish candle. The market actually created a little wick. It didn't come close to the 50%, maybe just like a 25 or something, which is of course fine. And we closed bullish, but I bet this bullishness happened on Friday. And yes, this is the case. So again, we see, yeah, pretty much, where is Monday? Monday opened bullish, then Tuesday pullback, Wednesday chop, Thursday chop, Friday push. Okay, so of course, first target on this one could be this high. Okay, this high could be the first target. Then it's a question whether we're gonna find any supply from this little level on the left, right? So as soon as we take out also this little level, which is, if you want to be precise, like 137, yeah, let's say 138. If we tap 138, then of course we can expect something like this, right? And then potentially we can head for the highs, right? So this is kind of a macro perspective that I have on USDN. I am bullish on this one. It's just that the sentiment is so bullish, but we can see that the PA on it was pretty nasty this week as well. Like, we're having an overall range, push, pullback, push, failure to make a new high, then breaks very sharply lower. Then you can take a short, but if you take a big short and you expect the market to come in low to the lows right there, nope, taps, fails, consolidates, push higher, okay? So technically right now we are still bearish. Why? Because I'm just going to break down the structure for you. There is that major break. So there is our major higher low that got broken right there. So where is our major lower high? It's right here. All of this right now is complex, right? So if this one breaks, then this is when we can actually say that we're turning bullish. But just looking at the price, it looks logical for the market to break above, right? I don't think it's going to find supply from here. It's possible, but just looking at the sentiment as well, I don't think so. And long term, I do believe this high will get taken right there, and then eventually this one. And then we have to see whether the market is going to respond from this very strong level right there. Okay, so what I would love to see on this one is two things: either an immediate pullback into the lows to form a higher low, so then we can take a long, or if the market actually taps inside this one, you can look for shorts. Right, you can drop to a lower time frame, look for shorts, then pull back towards the higher low, and then potentially take a big trade like this. Okay, so this is my macro USD JPY analysis. Of course, let's see how Monday opens. Something completely different can happen, but I'm overall bullish on USDN, so I will be looking for continuations. But of course, first of all, we need the setup, which we do not have right now. So once again, guys, it's a patience game. Let's have a look at the GBPs. Starting from GU, we can immediately see that this pair already went ahead and took out the major low, right? And also closed bearish, which I bet was actually on Friday. So what we can extract from the weekly is that we have a new major lower high on the weekly, right? But of course, when will the pullback initiate? We don't know. We can have one or two more bearish candles before the pullback initiates, right? So what we have to do is follow the current flow. And yes, what we can see is that the market actually went ahead on Monday and took out the major low, right? Then Tuesday took it out again, kind of formed an indecisive bar, overall bullish. Wednesday chop, Thursday chop, and then Friday took out the high, right? And then massive bearish engulfing candle, which again suggests we might continue, right? So of course, I'm overall bearish on the pound. It's just logical. But the question is, are we going to initiate the bigger pullback, or are we just going to continue dropping to the downside? Well, with the major news that came out, right, I do think we can continue dropping at least for one more week, right? We can have one more bearish weekly candle before we start thinking of a pullback, right? So yes, if I actually go to the 40 time frame, probably the only opportunity, like a nice opportunity, will be a potential long from right here, because the market again shifted structure, created this beautiful candle, then it pulls back. So longs are valid right there. And if you actually held enough, you can see that the high was actually taken, right? How was the high taken? Well, by creating a consolidation, a massive buy to stop out all the people, and maybe to trick new buyers into the market, and then we sold off massively, okay? Which creates a brand new supply area. This one looks too big, right? We can just take the wick, right? We can take the whole body like this, right? But of course, first target will be this low. Of course, the market can just go ahead right now and break the low, and then it's gonna potentially initiate a pullback, and then we can take a short, right? So this is how I would approach GU. This week, the opportunities look like simple, but they're not that simple, because there are also a lot of scenarios. The market is extended, like the move actually happened on Friday, right? So I do think after that Friday sentiment was introduced, we can potentially just continue with that massive flow, because right now investors are potentially really bearish, right? So everyone is right now bearish on the euro, for example, bearish on the pound, and really bullish on the dollar, right? So I do think the market might not actually allow us a lot of pullbacks to get into a trade, right? So maybe on EU, AU, GU, we can just continue to like drop massively to the downside. So of course, guys, make sure to adapt to the market as it goes. I am bearish on GU, as I'm bearish on like on EU, AU, NU, all the pairs I'm bearish, right? What really matters is how Monday is gonna open, what the development will be, and how we can get into a trade, okay? So this, according to me, will be a perfect scenario. Second scenario will be a bullish Monday, right? The bullish start of the week, lower high created, and then of course we can again attack the low. So those are the two scenarios that I'm going to be looking for. But of course, I usually hate analyzing on Saturday, because Monday opens, something completely different happens. And yeah, I much prefer to actually study something on Saturday and Sunday, and then just go full in preparation on Monday, as the market is already developing. So I can get a better feel of how we opened, and then actually do my analysis, right? So that's GU. Nothing much more to discuss, right? And GJ, I'm probably not gonna look at it as I did with all the JPYs. Like, just look at that, guys. Yeah, look at that. It's wicks down, wicks up, wicks down, wicks. I just don't know what's happening on this one. Yes, it's kind of looks overall bullish, like push, pullback, push, pullback. But this pullback has been taking place for 70 days, right? 10 weekly candles. So when is it gonna end? I don't know. Dropping onto the daily, yes, we have like a bearish flow right now, but it's even starting to, oops, like it used to be a little bit cleaner. Where is that thing? Yeah, it used to be like a push, pullback, yes, but look what is happening right now. It's starting to compress, right? So something will happen, and we have to wait for it. So I'm really not looking to trade any JPY right now. Not that I am, but if you are trading JPYs, then just be careful and wait, right? Like, look at the price action on GJ this week. It's just awful, right? You can say, yes, we have a tap at the low right there, which I think we actually broke down last week. Then we have a push that actually caused a shift of the trend right there. So then you can say, okay, I'm going to be looking to long from here. The market tapped. So longs kind of make a bit more sense, but with the bearish GBP USD, I don't think you're gonna have it, right? So this one is bullish just because of USD JPY, but with the bullish GU, it's with the bearish GU, it just won't work, right? Because in order for this one to move up, GU has to start moving up, and also UJ has to start moving up, right? So the pound has to be strong and the yen has to be weak, right? But yeah, we currently have a pretty bearish pound, so this one is just stuck in the range, right? So I'm not trading a JPY pair. Yes, the most recent structure suggests bullish to me, but I am not basing it on any hard time frame analysis or any sort of sentiment analysis, so I don't feel confident in it. So that's why I skip it usually, right? Euro GBP just tells us that the euro is stronger than the pound, right? I never look at this pair as well, right? But since reaching this low and actually tapping into a weekly zone that we had, right? I think I called it a couple of weeks ago, right? There it is. We're currently responding, but we are yet about to encounter another weekly supply right here. So technically this one is also kind of stuck in a range, right? And also the daily, yeah, we can debate a bit on the daily because there was a daily shift of structure precisely right here. And the market comes in higher low, higher high, higher low currently. So it looks like that the euro is stronger than the pound, which we can also see on referring in price. we can see that usually the pound flushes more than the euro, right? But yes, currently it is stuck, right? The weekly is kind of both bullish and bearish at the same time. Daily is right now bullish, but it looks like a pullback stage, right? And 4H, I usually don't look on the 4H on this pair, right? Because it's pretty tricky, okay? So again, I don't trade Euro GBP. I think we've chatted about with some of you guys. It's just tricky and it doesn't usually provide any value to me. Yes, it's like the Dixie for the Euro and the GBP, but I don't trade GU very often, so I don't need it at all, right? I can actually read how Euro USD, how Euro GBP is gonna look like by just looking at both Euro USD and GBP USD, right? So leaving it right there, the most important pair to focus is GBP USD. As I told you, make sure to focus on the USD pairs because there we have a clean sentiment and we want to trade pairs that are clean, okay? So let's see if we can get any shorts on GU. Let's have a quick look at gold, right? So as we said last week, we are bearish and we had a very nice bearish candle. It did not really pull back much towards 50%, probably 25 to 38% right there, which is pretty nice. And we actually ended up bearish. It's not very strong momentum, but what I think is going to happen right now after Friday's announcement from Powell, the sentiment shifting bullish on the Dixie, I do think gold can make a lower leg, right? Where to? Well, of course, first target will be the low, and yeah, then pretty much all of these lows are, yeah, they're very close to this one. So pretty much this could be an area 1680. Yeah, this is our potential area of targets, right? Perfectly bearish weekly time frame, a nice push to the downside, very nice pullback above 50%, nicely tapping the candle just before the momentum, right? So everything is good. On the daily time frame, what we waited for the daily is to shift, right? And the daily time frame actually shifted. There is a pullback. Yeah, this bearish candle is also a pullback candle, but it doesn't matter which one we take. There is a break of structure right here. The market then pulls back. So we started bearish as we did on all pairs, then we actually initiated a little pullback, and then Friday actually made the move lower, right? So the market is right now, as I keep telling you, there are support, there are demand levels on the left, but those are just going to be reaction points for the market to pull back and then to potentially continue lower, okay? So this little pullback right there could be enough, right? Because this is a daily pullback. This is not a 4-hourly, right? On the 4-hourly, we had a complete uptrend right there. And yes, right now the market is shifting to bearish. The most recent higher low is broken. So as you can see, weekly, daily, and 4-hourly right now are aligning to bearishness. Okay, so what we have to do right now is, of course, know how to enter. And I always enter from lower highs or higher lows. So I will be looking for a pullback, retest, lower high, and then a potential continuation lower. Okay, so if this was price action developing on Monday, this is what I will be looking for right now: a pullback, lower high, and a continuation lower. Okay. First target, if you wish, like for intraday targets, will be this most recent low, right? But of course, we know long term that we can target all of these lows. But of course, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. So I'd much prefer to take my 4 to 5 hour per day, secure my profits, and then of course, wake up the next day and strike again. Okay, so that's my outlook on gold, guys. I am bearish. Let me know if you are bearish as well. I do think we should be on one page on this one. Let me know what kind of development do you expect. Do you expect the market to continue dropping lower? Do you wish to have a pullback? How are you going to trade this one? Let me know. I'm pretty curious. Very interesting development across the indices, right? US 30, NASDAQ, S&P, all are falling down from the sky, creating a massive engulfing candle, Morboso candle, in fact, without any wicks on both sides, right? So I'm pretty proud of the forecast because I was looking at these little highs right there to be taken in order for the market to tap inside this major supply, and this is precisely what happened. The question was, can we have another spike into the highs before we reverse, or are we just gonna go straight for the reversal? And it looks like we went straight for the reversal, right now creating a beautiful evening star formation, okay? So of course, a lot of questions are right now in my mind. Is this just a pullback for the market to come inside this sort of region right there and then to continue an overall uptrend? Or are we just gonna plummet and start attacking some of these lows, right? I have a much lower, because I'm really deep into the S&P, I have a much lower projection on the S&P. So yes, I do think we can make a new lower low, right? Because indices are pretty much correlated. Like NASDAQ is the fastest moving one and usually does the biggest moves, right? But they're pretty much all correlated, right? So massive weekly candle right there. And then as you can see on the daily, we actually started like with a little pullback, then Monday bearish, Tuesday bearish, we had then a little pullback, and then on Friday, just boom, massive expansion lower, which also created a beautiful supply area that we can actually short from next week, right? And what we can say right now is that, yeah, just look at that. The speech only eliminated 3.8%, right? So 4 to 5% was usually when I was buying on a bull market, right? But right now we are actually totally 6% from this most recent top. So it's also great buying opportunities if you're investing in stocks, especially some of the tech stocks right now are falling. So I will be looking to stack because I stayed cash. Yeah, I was buying some individual stocks, right, that were lower valuations and lower pricing, but overall in indices, I stayed flat because they were climbing higher. And I do think right now, if you're investing in dollar cost averaging, it is a good time to start buying slowly, right? Slowly, because we still have some space towards the downside, okay? So if you ask me what I expect on US30, I don't expect a big pullback like this, right? I would expect like a little range to form, then another push, and then we can of course start following the flow like this, okay? Because you can see after we initiate, right, then you usually will look for something like this. The market just pulls back, breaks structure again, so then you have to continue flowing with the markets, right? So wait for the market to pull back, and as soon as it breaks structure, then keep flowing with the new market structure, okay? But I am bearish on this index. The hard time frame analysis played out to perfection, so I look forward to seeing 3120 tapped or some of these regions right here. Nasdaq, we can see Nasdaq from the top is 8.6%, right? And yes, we have that same zone right there that we can potentially target right now. On the daily time frame, we have shifted the structure officially. There it is right there. Monday came in and actually broke it, and we had this little pullback and a nice initiation lower once again, which similarly to US30, well, pretty much all the indices are going to be the same, creates this beautiful supply area that we can short from. And I see also a daily zone right there that I also saw on US30, but I didn't draw it. So let me go back to US30. Yeah, I didn't draw it because it's not that clean, right? It's kind of this one, so I just prefer to have this whole region. What we can see on Nasdaq, we had it pretty clear. We have a pretty clean pullback after the initiation, so that could be a potential level that we can have a stop, right? A stop for the market to pull back, lower high, and then continue lower. So I am bearish on the index, right? The question is, how do we trade it? Well, as I told you, you have to flow with the market, right? I don't think it's going to give you a nice pullback right there. It's just going to pull back for a little bit, right? And then initiate lower. So then what you have to do is keep following the flow. Okay, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, just go with the current momentum. And yes, I would expect 12K, maybe 12K to 1220, right, to get tapped. And then from there, we're going to see whether the market is actually going to have much further sentiment lower to continue going lower, or is it going to start to consolidate, thinking what to do next, right? Is it going to continue higher with this overall push up, or is it going to continue going lower, right? I do think that this was a pullback right here, because oftentimes we have those pullback, like we had it right there. Right now we had it right there, right? So can we go ahead and make a new lower low? Well, that will be awesome to see, okay? And then going to S&P, right? S&P also reached these little zones that we actually forecasted right there, took them out, and right now it's forming also a very nice evening star pattern. Once again, we have that same area that we can target right now. So if you're swing trading these ones or position trading them, then that will be a potential good exit. Even right here, right? So daily time frame is definitely shifting right now. Everything is broken, right? If you took your higher low from here, if you took it from here, it doesn't matter, it is broken. So we're technically bearish right now on S&P. There's that same supply, and yeah, pretty much the analysis on all of those is the same, right? So I would be looking for a pullback, maybe one day of pullback, and then the next day can continue going lower. And again, on the 4H, don't wait for a big pullback, just wait for the market to pull back, right? You can immediately start looking for shorts, and as soon as you have a new lower low, like something like this, then just keep following the flow like that. Okay, so that is S&P. I would expect a new lower low, right? I kind of all of a sudden the projection. Yeah, I think I was looking for 34. Yeah, 34 is a level that I would like to see get tapped, right? This is quite the big decline from the top, right? It's 30% decline, right? But this is usually the average crash on S&P if it's not like a bear market, because right there in the 2000 we had a bear market which is 56%, right? So right now we can definitely go even further than 30%, but I would expect 30% as an average, as something that potentially has to tap, right? So I am bearish on S&P right now. I'm shifting my bias, but of course I will be looking to buy along the way and stack up my investments. Okay, so being bearish on the indices, we can transfer onto crypto, which is currently running also bearish. We have this beautiful push, we have this beautiful pullback, tapping 50%, showing us this beautiful bearish engulfing candle on the weekly. And it looks like this week we also have a continuation. And what did I tell you guys? This is something what I would like to see right now on the indices, right? We have a massive dump that creates a supply, but the market just pulls back and then creates another leg lower. So this is technically a break of structure. So what I'll be looking to see right now is a pullback to the most recent supply before going lower. Okay, so this is my outlook on crypto. I am bearish. A lot of you can be investing right now. I'm trying to get some of my money back from Celsius, hopefully. But yeah, I don't think it's going to work out. But yes, I'm not going to be investing in crypto pretty soon. Right now, I'm going to be stocking on the stocks because that is, according to me, a much more secure investment, right? Ethereum also nice push to the downside, pulling back not above 50%, but we already see the bearishness kicking in. Transferring this on the daily, we also spotted from last week that the daily time frame shifted bearish. Right now we had a pullback, then we had a nice bearish engulfing candle, and currently we're responding from this demand, which can be a cause for a potential pullback towards the supply, and then from there we're gonna see if the hard time frame is gonna take prevalence. Okay. So pretty much that's it, guys. I want to leave it right there, not to overcomplicate it too much. Very interesting times are ahead of us. This is the last week of August, right? So make sure to finish it strong. I can't wait for September. I'm back on the 1st of September in my home station. So that's when I'm going to start working a lot as well. Almost starting my final university year. So yes, right. Finishing it right there, guys. I really hope you got value from the video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and comment your thoughts in the comments. Your favorite pairs, your weekly performance so far, your monthly performance if you wish, any nice trades that you took, any potential outcomes that you expect to happen. Let me know. I always read the comments, and I wish you a very successful week ahead of you. And stay tuned for my Tuesday flow with the markets.